seeing it from their perspective.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you're not going to be understood if that person isn't seeing your perspective.
And if you're becoming emotional about it because they're not understanding it, it becomes emotional communication instead of logic communication.
Yeah.
And he or she's never going to understand you because you're not speaking in logic. You're speaking from emotions, and they have never felt the emotion that you're expressing.
Logically.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And it will just be a never-ending misunderstanding.
That's where wise people are very good at guiding communications. But that also plays into intent too. It's like you got to be wise enough to see things. Foresight.
That's why you need to process internally before speaking out loud.
Yeah.
Because if you're not clear in your thoughts, how are you supposed to make them clear in your thoughts?
Yeah.
It's
like you. I was sitting on the couch one day. You wake up in the morning, you're mad, you're screaming, you just say, it's like something hurt. Somebody kicked your dog or something. You know?
Right.
And then I'm like, oh yeah, I'll make some pancakes. It's like, I understood what you were blowing up about, and I don't think you even knew you were blowing up. And it's, but I see that, and I'm wise to follow that, and you are too. And I think that I would like to. For anybody who's listening, I hope that you can find wisdom and patience for people who don't understand you and for things that you don't understand. And so, it's a big game of life. And we're going to live it. We have to live it. There's no other option. People say that life's short, but honestly, it's the longest thing you'll ever know. And so, those reasons, I want to help as much as I can. So I hope I help somebody in communicating today. People can listen to you and I. This is a perfect example of communication. Is even if we didn't explain to you how to fix this misunderstanding issue or whatever, maybe you could see a connection between two people that is open and in forward direction. And maybe you can take cues of how we're communicating now. I know we're cutting each other off a lot, but that's just part of open communication. And we didn't get too personal about so many personal things. But I think that if people could learn to, give each other the chance to say it, listen and go back and forth and really communicate the details about things without getting offended, be aware of other people's feelings, be empathetic. I think that you'll fix a lot of problems and misunderstanding, and you'll be validated in ways that you never knew you could.
So do you think that people are misunderstanding each other more because of personality differences or because of communication issues?
Both.
Can you explain?
Well, I think that the way that you're raised changes your perception of life. And the situations that you end up in from that changes your perspective on situational things. And I think that without going through a lot of different ones, it's hard to see other perspectives. Like my perspective on something can be completely different from the perspective of somebody else. It's only that once I was able to see that their perspective from what they're saying, right, that I was able to really understand what they're saying. So it takes a lot of experience. And I think that the way that our backgrounds, the way that we're raised, the things that we face growing up builds our perception. And so it's very important that that's going to be a big factor in misunderstanding, is not giving somebody else's understanding a thought. Put yourself in their shoes. People don't put themselves in other people's shoes whenever they're trying to understand. So there's a lot of it that stems from background and the way that we're raised and the situations that we go through to get there. But the ultimate goal is to grow wise enough to see from different perspectives. Once you can do that, then communication almost becomes simple.
Right. I agree.
Because you can stop and you can listen and you can take into account the seriousness of this person's feelings even though it has nothing to do with you. Even if it directly has everything to do with you. Grow wise and listen, because most of your communication and misunderstanding issues are coming because of a lack of somebody's ability to see and hear you. And so that's
I think part of that is that when we're not getting all the information that we need to process what you're saying to us, is that we fill in the missing information with stuff that's already in our head.
yeah.
And then that creates an assumption of someone's intention. And when you stop listening and you stop paying attention to what they're saying, so it's very important not to fill in the blanks. If you have questions, like you feel like there's a blank or an empty spot that doesn't make sense, ask questions to get full understanding, so that there is no assumptions, there's no misinformation, there's no misintentions, there's no mind reading, because I am not a mind reader. I don't think you are either. You might come close, but you're not.
We cannot directly see
Right.
people's thinking.
And then it avoids wrongful people being wrong or mad, and energy levels getting up higher than they need to be because
Elevated or under
it's true. Because
there's a balance.
we're mad that you're not hearing, you're not understanding, or is it just because they don't agree with you? I mean, there's also that thing. You also have to, are you mad because they're not agreeing with you, or are you mad because it's a misunderstanding?
Yeah.
There's
There's a
two
lot of different aspects to
Yeah.
communication, but I think that ultimately, I think that it's very important to just take your time and learn to leave your emotions out of it. It might even be emotionally brought to the plate of the reason why you're needing to communicate or understand where you need to be understood. But once you get to that point where you need to communicate about it and people are misunderstanding you, it's time to take the emotion out of it and just in reality, and just, this is what it is. This is what it is. This is how I'm feeling, without expressing my feeling while I'm trying to explain. Right?
Right.
So you got to be able to shut it off. You must at some point turn off the emotion and be blunt, so that you can be extreme. Like her and I are completely opposite. Well, you know, she come from a time and a place where she blows up about things and kind of, in my opinion, would be overdoing. And vice versa. I come from a background where, or from situations where I feel like I've been beat down, and whenever I express something or try to communicate something, nobody's gonna understand it anyway.
Okay.
That's what I don't care. So I just stay small. She stays big, and so that's what I think that's important to see. That she can see that perspective in my situational happenings, and I can see her perspective. And I think that that's a good balance. You got to find a balance between blowing up and shutting down. You know, over communicating about something or not communicating at all.
And choosing that is very emotional, because every inch of your body wants to blow up.
Or wants to go ahead.
Yes, and it is like being pulled out of your closet when all you want to do is be there.
Let's just remember that.
And all of that stems from reacting to old pain, and another, which leads me to another part of miscommunication, is people have been hurt. Everybody's been hurt by somebody doing something, and they look back at what led up to that point. And so when they start seeing people do those things or say those things or act in those ways, they assume this is where it's going, and they're trying to stop their pain. And even though that's not your intent, they can't believe that because of experience, and they're basically punishing you for their pain.
Yeah.
And it's a very hard, frustrating thing to be on the other side of that.
It's going to happen.
Yeah, it is.
It's going to happen no matter what.
And you have to understand that where they're coming from, it's not fair, and it hurts, and it's not the only thing that you can do to get past that is to consistently show them that it doesn't lead to that thing that they're afraid of.
And if they're important to you to the point that matters and they're not going anywhere, then you must learn to do these things in order to have a good, be content with where you're at and what you're trying to do.